United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community. We improve lives in order to build strong communities.
We are the voice of Southwest Saskatchewan business, making our community the best place to live, work, and invest.
Community Futures, growing communities one idea at a time. We understand the importance of entrepreneurship in Southwest Saskatchewan and work with new and existing entrepreneurs.
We believe no local organization should be left behind because of limited resources.
We have local expertise that will provide our community with cost-effective knowledge and tools to navigate 2021.
We believe information sharing is a vital component in order to be in this together.
Through the delivery of webinars and a wide range of topics, this opportunity will be accessible to all nonprofits and small businesses who would like to participate.
2021 is a year to think bigger when working together.
We believe it
starts with our
community and businesses
uniting.
Thank you all for joining us for today's first of many Community.Commerce.United webinars. We are very pleased to kick off our series with equipping our frontline workers with resources to connect their clients and community members to supports and services that best support their individual needs. We are very fortunate to have with us Kristen Nelson, who is the Director of 211 Saskatchewan. She has worked with United Way for the past 10 years. Kristen started her career as a frontline service worker in the area of providing support to people who had experienced domestic violence. Seeing people overcome challenges and face barriers provided a great appreciation and understanding for the vast needs for supports and services in our community, and also how important it is to have a simple way to connect with those services. Born and raised in Saskatchewan, it is a passion of Kristen's to see communities thrive and find ways to work together to make that happen. Cindy Kobayashi is the Consulting Director of Advancement for United Way Regina. For 2 decades, she dedicated her life to social change, working in the nonprofit sector for organizations such as Kids Help Phone, Habitat for Humanity, and Mother Teresa Middle School. Cindy works as an independent consultant serving United Way Regina in a number of capacities, primarily with 211 Saskatchewan in areas of government relations and project management of data and technology enhancement. Her work in government relations allows the opportunity to find innovative solutions and work collaboratively with government to address complex social issues. She is passionate about policy and how it impacts human service agencies working on the front lines with our province's most vulnerable. Cindy is also a champion of libraries and innovation and proudly serves on the board of directors for Regina Public Library Board and Sask INC, the Innovation Network Community. Welcome, Kristen and Cindy, to today's webinar.
Thanks so much for the introduction, Carla. We're really excited to be here, and thanks to all of you for joining us and letting us spend your lunch hour with you. So I'm going to start off here. I'm going to do the first half of the presentation, and then I'll turn things over to Cindy to give some more detail in some of our other areas, including the data work that was mentioned. But I'd like to start off with sharing regrets, from Stacey Schwartz and giving a quick introduction to her. Stacey is the local United Way contact for Southern Saskatchewan, and she is one of the fantastic team members that has been working to bring this CCU webinar forward. We are thrilled to get to be the first presenters here with the CCU webinar. So big thanks to Stacey and Carla and the rest of the CCU team who have brought us here today. In today's world of increasingly complex problems, specialized roles, numerous programs, navigating systems can be very complex. That's before you consider things like language or cultural barriers, an inability to read or fill out paperwork, varying levels of ability, or multiple complex challenges or barriers at once, things like addictions, mental health, violence, homelessness, or food insecurity. Often, a person seeking service can be faced with multiple of these challenges at once, but the support required must come from multiple different agencies. When you compare this to a medical situation, If you have a physical injury, you can head straight to the hospital or medical clinic where you can receive treatment from one or many healthcare professionals. From the perspective of an individual seeking services that are more human service related, things like I mentioned, food insecurity, homelessness, violence, mental health, or addictions, that may not be the case. This information and referral role or connection to services is where 211 comes in. 211 exists to connect people to services. Help is just a click, call, or text away for anyone looking for services in Saskatchewan. 211 is an information service that is an up-to-date and reliable gateway to community, social, non-clinical health, and government services. Our service directory currently holds over 6,000 program records that document and describe programs, human services, and organizations available to help people here in Saskatchewan. 211 is not only about ensuring individuals get to the right service, but also that busy service providers aren't receiving inappropriate referrals. 211 helps people from all walks of life and communities across the province to navigate complex systems quickly and easily to find what they need. It can be used by an individual seeking services independently and in private, or it can be used by a service provider, a friend, or a relative locally, or even from another province or country, assisting someone in Saskatchewan. 211 is free and confidential. Service navigators and phone translators adhere to strict confidentiality policies and standards. Calls, texts, web chats, and emails are always anonymous and always confidential. No identifying individual information is ever shared. 211 Saskatchewan started as an online searchable database. We've now expanded those services to include the 211 phone line, web chat, text, and email options, all available 24/7, 365. Over the phone, 211 is available in over 175 languages, including 17 Indigenous languages. 211 is not a duplication of services. It serves its own unique purpose and complements other Saskatchewan 3-digit phone lines. 211 is the front door to a wide range of community services, focusing on providing people with information and helping them navigate those services and find out what's available to them. 211 does not specialize in specific areas such as healthcare or crisis intervention. We don't offer case management, as callers always remain anonymous. Instead, 211 makes referrals to other helplines and helps make that connection to services based on the caller's needs. 211 will have a redesigned website this year, we're very excited to announce, along with a refreshed look that focuses on ease of use. Enhanced search capabilities will ensure that users are always finding the most appropriate services for their search quickly and easily. So up on the screen now, this is a look at what our new website will look like. Information is organized by need, not by who delivers the service. This makes it much easier to search. This way, a client or service provider doesn't have to know the name of the agency, organization, government ministry, etc. that they're searching for. They can search by the issue or by their needs. 211 staff verify each and every program in our database at least annually to ensure that service records are accurate and up to date. Although 211 is relatively new to Saskatchewan, 211 started approximately 22 to 23 years ago in Atlanta. United Way then led the implementation of 211 service throughout the US, and United Way is also a leader in Canada in supporting and implementing access to 211. With recent support from the federal government as a response to COVID-19, 211 will soon be available over the phone and online to every person in Canada. Expansion, which was led by United Way Centraide Canada, happened quickly in provinces that had limited or no access to 211, expanding their services to support and connect people in Canada. 211 was really viewed as a critical support to have in place as people now navigate the challenges and barriers that we're seeing during this time. With the work currently being done at a national level, very soon 100% of people in Canada will have access over the phone and online to 211 to connect with local services. As I mentioned, 211 Saskatchewan first launched as a website back in 2013. The boards of United Way Regina and United Way Saskatoon and area, which 211 Saskatchewan is an initiative of, committed to making 211 a priority. With the commitment of both United Ways and generous support of 211's expansion partners, the Community Initiatives Fund and Can Pacific Potash, the expanded services launched in June of 2018. Simply put, 211 is all about helping people connect to the services they're looking for. It helps to redirect non-emergency calls from 911, ensuring that our emergency services can be used appropriately. Data from 211 can be used to help identify service gaps in service areas based on unmet needs. It can also highlight emerging trends and support better service planning. 211 can act as the information hub or front door, really the main information source during a crisis or disaster situation, again, making sure that emergency services can be used appropriately. And online survey respondents found the service to be helpful and reported being connected with services that help to address their needs. We'll take a quick look at some data now. This table shows the types of services that people in Saskatchewan are using 211 to connect with. In 2020, there were 206,014 interactions with 211 Saskatchewan. This includes the total number of unique visits to our website, in addition to the number of phone calls, texts, web chats, and emails. This table is a comparison of issues between the web searches and the phone service, which include, again, call, text, web chat, and email. As you can see, probably not surprisingly, calls related to health became the top issue. This was due to the pandemic. You can also see that mental health and addictions, as well as basic needs, are also very commonly reported. In addition to tracking the issues that people are calling about or searching for through 211, we're able to track information such as demographics and inquirer locations, all while maintaining confidentiality. While a wide range of people use 211, as shown in this slide, the majority of contacts in 2020 were made by individuals who were seeking information for themselves, are adults, and are female. The benefit of tracking the top issues, unmet needs, demographics, and more is that 211 Saskatchewan can provide vital information to planners who are then able to better use it to understand where needs are in our province and how service delivery can be improved or developed in order to meet those needs. These next tables show the locations of website searches, as well as the searches for call, text, web chat, and email. The first table shows the geographic regions of the province that calls came from back in 2019. And the second table shows the top usage locations for both the website and inquiries through our service navigators. I'm going to share with you now an example of one of the calls that we've got through 211. Any identifying information has, of course, been changed. A young woman connected with 211 Saskatchewan through online chat. She communicated that she was seeking emotional support for anxiety, which has been exacerbated by COVID. Her work situation has been precarious because of COVID restrictions, and with her main source of income being from part-time employment, she was feeling anxious about making ends meet. This was being compounded by feeling isolated and anxious about COVID. The service navigator explored with the young woman if she needed any support in meeting her basic needs, and the young woman indicated that she was okay in that area at this time. The young woman was referred to online and over the phone mental health and substance use supports that she could access from the comfort and safety of her own home. The young woman was told that if she had further needs in the future, she could always reconnect with 211. I'm going to share a little bit now about just a couple quick highlights of the partnerships that really help to support 211 and make sure that the resource is out in the province. The first is RCMP. Through a partnership with the RCMP in Saskatchewan and with support from the RCMP's Family Violence Initiative Fund, we have co-branded RCMP and 211 Saskatchewan cards that are being deployed in detachments across the province. So the front of the card still has the standard RCMP information, and the reverse of the card has 211 Saskatchewan information in both English and French. This provides officers a referral tool when they're interacting with individuals or families who may need ongoing support or whose situations are non-emergent or non-criminal. The idea is to redirect non-emergent and non-criminal calls to the appropriate place and provide people support in the way that makes the most sense for the needs that they're looking for. I also want to highlight how important it is and how much we value our partnerships with service providers. 211 is really also, in addition to being a tool for individuals, truly a very, very valuable tool for service providers. 211, as I mentioned, is available 24/7 as a resource to frontline service providers. Providers can utilize 211 while working directly, sitting down with their clients to plan and determine what resources, supports, and services are available to them. Up-to-date information really does allow service providers to confidently refer their clients to the appropriate services. Our website and our service navigators over the phone have access to information such as hours of operation, availability, eligibility, fees, all of those important information pieces that are required when determining what service is most appropriate. And referrals may also be made to clients directly to 211 so that they can access 211 independently and on their own. Materials such as handbills and wallet cards are available for service providers to order. These can be kept in common spaces of offices or given out directly to clients. These resources can be ordered and are available at no cost to service providers from the Contact Us page of our website at sk.211.ca. And I will now turn things over to Cindy.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kristen. Hi, everyone. I'm excited to share a little bit with you about what 211 can do beyond connecting people to the help that they need. As Carla mentioned in the intro, my role is in government relations and managing some of the technology enhancement pieces and data. And even though my sister seems to think that data and government relations are two of the most boring topics possible, I happen to think they're really cool. And I'm hoping that you will agree. So I'm going to touch a little bit about emergency planning specifically. 211 has played an integral role in emergency planning and preparation throughout North America. So as one example, BC wildfires was a great opportunity to really highlight the benefit of 211. They played a central service and were a source of information, everything from road closures to where you could access water, food, and shelter. It also assisted with family reunification and even what and where to donate and volunteer. During the Calgary floods, Mayor Nenshi was directing anyone not in an emergency situation to call 211 so that 911 would not be bogged down with calls. This helps ensure that people who need immediate assistance can get through when they need it. 211 call centers also have the unique ability, if overwhelmed in one area, to have overflow of services managed by another 211. So as an example, when BC was inundated with wildfire calls, they could utilize Alberta 211 services to manage overflow if needed. This is really a fantastic opportunity for particularly major emergency situations. But of course, it doesn't help, unfortunately, during a global pandemic when all 211s are being inundated. But please do keep this in mind if you have anything to do with your municipal emergency planning and processes. We would love to have further conversations, as we know we have participants that have registered for this webinar from all across the province. So even though 211 is not fully known in the province, from the day the first case of COVID-19 was announced in Saskatchewan, we saw a huge surge in 211 usage. March of 2020 saw a 200% increase in phone services alone. Overall, in 6 months following, phone service usage saw a 90% increase, and that was quite significant for us. Mental health and addictions was the main reason for calls pre-COVID, while from March to August, healthcare was the main reason, with 50% of those, of course, being related to COVID-19. Requests for income support increased by over 90%, and that's no surprise. Unemployment was a huge issue during that time and will continue to be as we suffer the wave of the pandemic. Besides the increase on health-related requests, callers were also asking about services that are open and expressing that they were feeling anxious with the situation. So, lots of agencies had to shut down. They couldn't offer the services in the same way that they were prior to the pandemic. And so people didn't really know where to go. And kudos to our 211 team. They were on the phones. They were working tirelessly to contact priority service agencies that they knew people would be connecting with on a regular basis to find out what restrictions they were experiencing during the pandemic, and updating all of that information within our 211 database so that people were getting up-to-date, accurate information as much as possible. The 211 website already had a lot of traffic, and we still saw a 20% increase in visits post-pandemic. Last month, we had more than 26,000 unique visits to the website. So it has really blossomed throughout the past year. And then, of course, due to some marketing campaigns, which I'll touch on a little bit later, we saw an even greater increase, which is great. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about my role in government relations, as there's been great interest and support from all levels of government. And although we've been working most closely with the provincial government over the last couple of years, we have also had discussions at the municipal level, and there's great opportunity to expand there. Federally, the biggest opportunity presented during COVID, and that resulted in significant investment from the Government of Canada, as Kristen mentioned. This was mostly focused on expanding services, but also help with technology, surge capacity, and promotion of 211. This national marketing campaign has rolled out across the country, and hopefully you've seen the ads. I'm going to now touch on two particular partnerships with the provincial government next, but we continue to have discussions with several ministries for potential partnership issues on issues such as employment, disabilities, health-related transportation, and providing access to legal information and resources. We are just now in the final stages of development of a project in partnership with the Ministry of Education Early Years branch. And next month, we will be launching a portal for all parents in the province of kids 0 to 6 years of age. This portal will be a one-stop shop of all things early childhood development, from understanding developmental milestones at each age and how to access programs and services, to the importance of early learning and the role of parents as first teachers. One of the cool functions of this portal will also include a search function for all licensed childcare in the province. Parents will be able to enter search criteria and find all that fit, as well as real-time availability for each center. If there are no available spots at the preferred places, they can be put into a wait list through that facility. But the magic is that this data will be extremely valuable to the ministry in order to inform investment of both where and what type of childcare is needed in the province. In October, the Ministry of Justice announced a partnership with 211 Saskatchewan to create a portal for people experiencing violence and abuse. This ties in with their awareness campaign that hopefully you've seen the ads for this as well. And over the next several months, we will be connecting to both people with lived experience, as well as those on the front lines, to inform development of a more robust portal for domestic violence, sexual assault, and all forms of abuse. But aside from connecting to people to the help they need, the data we glean from 211 is just as valuable. It helps us to better understand the needs in each community and what programs and services they are getting connected to. It also helps us to identify unmet needs, as Kristen mentioned earlier, in each community and gaps in services that may exist. This information allows funders and governments to invest accordingly in order to address those gaps. As part of our funding from the Community Initiatives Fund for the phone expansion, included was the ability to develop a data integration and visualization system. This is still in development, so please keep that in mind as you're looking at some of these slides. The data is not complete. It's still being developed, but more extensive data analytics is in plan through development of 211 data strategy as well. This slide that I'm showing right now is a snap of just phone services data, so it doesn't include any of the web data. What we can see is the spike in March when COVID hit, and that surge has remained steady since. Again, keep in mind this is still in development, but it does give you a bit of a snapshot of what this will all look like when it is completed. This is an example of the issues people are calling about, and often there's more than one reason for a call, and a presenting reason may lead to other needs being identified. So this shows some of our top needs: mental health, of course, addictions, as I mentioned before, basic needs. And this is a shot of where referrals have been made. You'll see a lot of health-related referrals, as this was, of course, due to the COVID surge. And because mental health and addictions, as well as basic needs, are our top issues, referrals to counseling, crisis services, and shelters and food tend to be our top referrals. Another area of interest for communities, government, and funders is the ability for us to look at all programs and services in a particular area. We can even drill down into eligibility and again, identify those gaps in services that may exist. So this is just showing you Swift Current as an example. And another cool function of our system is the ability to geographically heat map programs and services. Again, this can be drilled down into the types of programs and services and who they serve. So this snapshot is just showing basic needs in Moose Jaw, just to give you an example of what that might look like. And this is just an interesting function of our 211 Power BI system. It pulls the common keyword searches from the website to give a different visualization of the issues people are looking to get help for. Again, we're just finalizing this development, and we'll be creating the data strategy in which we will be able to dig deeper into the analytics and really look at identifying trends and doing some deeper analysis in those pieces. We would like to eventually get to a position of doing predictive and prescriptive analytics as well, where we can get ahead of trends that sometimes data is often lagging far behind. If you look at especially census data, you know, it only comes every 5 years. When we have very limited localized data to work with as a frontline service provider, as government, as health, whoever you are, it can be a really challenging position to be in when you're trying to find localized data in which to set targets and measurements and analyze your success over time. And so we're really hoping that the data from 211 overlapped with other data sets. So not just necessarily on its own, but overlapped with other data sets such as environics data, with census data, with service provider data. We could do some really amazing things with that. So we're really excited for what the future holds with the 211 data. And this, I just added in because we just came off of celebrating a very successful 211 day, of course, February 11th, 211, February 2nd month, 11th day, just in case you didn't get it, not everybody does right away. 211 day, we had a national splash across the country, bigger than we've ever had before. And it was really exciting to see. Leaders from all levels of government, from the Prime Minister to the Premier, to our mayors, were sharing through their social media. We had the 211 flag, as you can see, that was raised at the Legislative Building here in Regina. Mosaic Stadium lit up red. We had the Heritage Center, CN Tower, the Calgary Tower, Niagara Falls even was lit up. We don't have a picture of it yet, but we're hoping to get one. But it was really exciting to see landmarks across the country lit up and lots of social media trending, spreading the word about 211 and the services that are available. And then just one last slide I wanted to add in, because if you haven't already connected with us on social, please do. We are on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So there are some videos on there that give you a little bit more information on 211. And please do connect with us and also share to your contacts so that we can help spread the word about services that are available to 211. And keeping in mind too that the data is only as good as the people that are using it. So the more we can get people utilizing it, then the more data we will have to inform where the needs are and what gaps exist and what we can do with that in the future. So with that, I will open it up to some questions, and I think we're gonna just have them pop up on the screen. Is that the way we decided?
Yeah, so there's already a couple of questions coming in, which is great. Cindy, I can kind of start them off if you want, and then you can fill in any gaps I've missed. So the first question,
sounds good.
Which service provider conducts your interpreter services, and what information does an individual need to provide in order to access their language? Excellent question. So as I mentioned, we have over 175 languages available, and all a person needs to do in order to have that conversation in the language that they prefer is dial 211, so it is available over the phone, and say the language that they would like to have the conversation in. From there, the service navigator will loop in a third-party interpreter, again, bound by all the same confidentiality and anonymity standards and protocols that are in place for 211, and then it essentially acts as a three-way call. For the first part of that question, who provides our services, we have some languages that are provided by CanTalk, and then we have majority of the languages interpretation services are provided through our service partners with BC 211 and the BC Provincial Language Service. Oh, sorry, actually, one more thing I will mention about that. If you're curious about the languages that are available, if you go to our website and click on the Contact Us tab, you'll see a link there and you can see the full list of languages that are available. Okay, so the second call are health-related calls directed to 811 for RN triaging. Absolutely. So in both 2019 and 2020, Healthline was actually our top referral. So not surprisingly, in 2020, because of all the health-related concerns and calls in response to COVID, but we're also our top referral in 2019. So anything that's coming in that requires that health-related triaging absolutely does get referred to 811. All right, so the next question, how does a provider give 211 program information to add to your database? We love getting the emails asking to add new services. We truly do rely on partners and communities in order to make sure we can verify information. That's really critical to be able to get in touch with service providers and have responses to those verification requests so that information is accurate and up to date. So you really can do this in a number of ways. You can get in touch with us. There's actually a form, again, directly on our website on the Contact Us page. And you'll see it says that you can either report incorrect or missing information. If you fill that form out, it goes directly to our manager of resources, and we'll make sure to get in touch and get all the applicable information added into our database. Another route to go about it is to just connect with one of our 211 resource team or myself, and we'll get that ball rolling. All right, next question. When you make a referral to another agency, for example, 811, do you have the ability to transfer a phone call directly, or does the caller have to hang up and call back? So we do have the ability, absolutely, to do warm transfers if it's determined that the person needs that extra little bit of support in connecting to the resource, or 100% in crisis situations where there's an immediate need to connect. We will do that warm transfer. So we do have that ability. It's really kind of determined by a conversation with the person. A lot of the times our callers are comfortable getting the information and then making the connection when they have time and when is most comfortable for them. So vast majority of the time we provide the information and the caller will connect with the support or service on their own. However, we do have that ability to do a warm transfer if it's deemed that the person needs some more support in connecting, at which point we'll do the warm transfer. And then once the connection is made between the caller and the service provider, the 211 service navigator drops off the call.
And maybe just to add, Kristen, that a cold transfer would be a direct transfer, but the navigator not staying on the line. And in some cases, when there's multiple referrals, they might transfer to one or might just give the list of resources and then the person has to connect themselves. So every situation's unique. A good question.
Definitely. Very good question. And our service navigators also have the ability, if it's required, and I think this is usually pretty relevant, particularly when working with service providers, if there is a long list of referral sources, those can be emailed out as well.
Oh, good question.
Do you want to take that one, Cindy, or would you like me to?
Well, yeah, I can take that one. Yes, we absolutely do get a monthly report on average wait times. The only time that we had an issue with wait times to connect was during the immediate surge of the pandemic in March. And following that, it seemed to level off a little bit. However, part of our Power BI data analytics system is going to include the call data. So it will be how many people are on at any given time, how long are they waiting to get on, how long are they on for in each system, because texts obviously take a lot longer than direct phone calls, et cetera. So that's all part of the data that we do get and will be built into our Power BI. We're just having a bit of a challenge right now with a new telephone system that our service provider, the call center, has implemented. And that was a result of the pandemic. They implemented a new system in order to be able to provide new services for the province. And as a result, it has some great analytics tied to it, but we just have to be able to connect our systems in with that data. And do we have any more questions coming up? Just looking at the chat box now. I think that was it so far.
I think that's all. Does anyone else have anything further? If so, please put it in the chat.
And I think, Kristen, you mentioned the ability for you to do, you or your team to do presentations on navigating through or what services are available, et cetera, that can be customized to different areas. I know we have some health people on the line as well, so there's lots of opportunity for connection there. Yeah, and feel free to connect with us, and we're always looking for opportunities to partner in different ways. So, you know, in the case of the RCMP, as Kristen mentioned, we've developed customized materials. So lots of different ways that we can connect and help get the word out there.
Absolutely. And as Cindy said, our team is very available, particularly if you're looking for a presentation on how can this be of value for our organization, how do we utilize it. We're more than happy to come in and, like Cindy said, have those conversations or make those presentations to your colleagues and your team. All right, I'm not seeing any other.
Well, maybe we'll hand it back to Carla, I think, to wrap things up. And a huge thank you again to the Chamber of Commerce and Community Futures and our colleague Stacy at United Way for bringing this all together and inviting us to participate. It was really great to be a part of it.
Absolutely, and thank you all for joining us.
Well, thank you, Kristen and Cindy. What a great, simple resource to have for our community and our families and co-workers and staff to direct people to the services that they require during a difficult time. So thank you all of you for joining us today. And I'll encourage you please to fill out the feedback survey that each of you will receive via email. Your feedback is essential to us to provide greater insight on development of future webinars relevant to the challenges that our nonprofits and small businesses are facing. So don't forget, next month, join us for our March webinar, Grant Writing from a Funder's Perspective. Doing applications for grants is not an inherent skill that many of us have, and learning more will help generate more success for your organization. You can sign up at www.ccu-sk.ca, and I look forward to seeing you at our next Community Commerce United webinar. Thank you again for joining us today.